Hello and welcome to the FXReturn.com Market Quick View Report for Thursday, December 4th, 2008. It's 0400 GMT, 11 o'clock p.m. East Coast Wednesday still, and we are looking at the euro at 27.06. When we follow along from our research from last week, we were looking at this as a break and a retouch, and we needed to close above 30.80 right in here for the market to be able to calculate top to bottom, a Fibonacci retracement level. As is, we still remain in the downtrend, with this intermediate trend line providing support. We have big news tomorrow out of the euro interest rates in about another 8 hours and 45 minutes at 12:45 GMT. But before that, at 1200 GMT, we've got the interest rates out of the UK. So with the euro trading 27.07. Oh, and by the way, right here, FXReturn.com, right here, sign up for a free membership. Get access to all of our free TON Trade on News plans, all our live Trade on News videos, this type of technical analysis video, and so much more. We also have a special offer, $24.99 for a 2-week trial to either our intraday or TON trading signals. Once you get the password, just enter your name, username, password, whether it's free or subscription, and log in. And you get all of our special deals. So let's take a look at the euro, 27.07. Everything stays in effect. Downtrend is still going. We've only traded above this 50-day exponential, twice in the last 6 months or so. We're still trading under it right now. The MACD doesn't look so strong, so we've got our levels, 23.33 on the bottom, 27.60 intermediate, and we've got to see 30.80 to do anything in the euro. The pound, same story. We looked at this area here. In fact, if you remember from last week's video, we had a little head and shoulders top. And before I move on, here was our picture. Said that looked like a little baby head and shoulders, and it did. It broke down, and you can see these are 8-hour, 4-hour bars. 27.07 right now. No momentum at all to the upside. So let's continue back to the pound. 47.77. This is that same area here. We got to get above this green line, 60.80, to begin to measure this retracement level. Breaks of this low, and I'll have to get back above these previous highs to measure a retracement level. That's how I work it. 47.77, still building a little momentum to the downside. It doesn't look over with quite yet in the British pound to the downside. Breaks of 47.10, I think you can look at lower levels. To the upside, we got to get above 61.80. This comes in 45.45, and below that's 4,200 in the British pound. If all this weight keeps pushing, there's not a lot of room for the buyers. We look at euro yen, same story, pushing down. We have not traded above the 50-day moving average at all in the last 6 months, basically, from this drop in August. So the euro-yen really pushing the lower limits. It looks like it's forming a type of triangle. If we close these tops, it's called the symmetrical triangle with the rising bottom and the sloping down top. 118.46. There's no saying it can't break down and then back up. But right now, momentum is still to the downside, and I got to assume that we haven't traded above it. So I've got to get above 25.32, which is basically I got to start trading above this 50-day moving average for me to look to buy it. I'm not interested in buying this or this or this or this. I'd be more interested in selling the rallies there on the way down. We've got the dollar yen in its downtrend. It did retrace 50% back in November, and now look, pushing. We had a symmetrical triangle, broke out. Came up another symmetrical triangle that we pointed out last week, and we broke down there, 93.19, still building to the downside. No momentum to the upside. I think in dollar yen, I've got to get above 97.58. Look, 90.99 down here, and then you got 88. Whichever way this goes. When we're moving up off a bottom, something like this, we've got some positive momentum here. We got a little MACD. We got something giving us some direction here. I don't see it right here. We're still a long way from home in terms of the baseline, and could be a lot of pressure on dollar yen. That's put pressure on euro yen, euro, the pound, and also the Dow Jones. I think you would see some type of a deep move. Dollar Swiss, on the other hand, 2078. We're holding its trend channel. We just hit the 2.618 Fibonacci target that we talked about. It was a 61% retracement this way. You measure this. Robert Fisher, a big one for this. This was the 1.0, and basically this was 1.618 times this, which is the phi ratio, 2078. We're going to get hung up here on 2242. We've got 21 in our way. True support doesn't really come in. I think you could see 1628 if it breaks this trend channel here to the upside, breaks at 2100. I think take out 2242. And when we look at the weeklies, we're still building a little momentum. So we've got 2493. We're sitting down at this 1951, 50% retracement. But you can see where this is headed if we're going higher, 24.93. Dollar Canadian, same story, big move. You're looking double top. Okay, came off it, but we're hugging the average. We're riding high here. There's two scenarios here. This could be a good one. This is a potential off this double top, which it's really not a double top till you get right through here, but you can assume this could be a potential bear flag. Potential bear flag right here. What I would do here is draw some Gann lines in there, and there you go. So breaks of this top Gann line, I think then you look at the weeklies. And when you look at your weeklies, you see we're building momentum. We're at through 61.8 where we're not in the Swiss. There's 61.8 in Swiss, so it's kind of Canadians leading the way. But I'm seeing a lot of momentum. This doesn't look as much as a dire double top to me at these levels, 25.41. I think, and then when you look further at the monthlies, just a little bit of data, but all the momentum. These things go where the monthly MACD goes. And I'm not seeing the end of this yet in the Canadian dollar versus Canadian dollar. Could make some strides. To the downside, you got a bear flag here in the last Gann level. If it breaks through the bottom of this bear flag, I think you got an opportunity to sell and maybe push the bottom of this trough at worst this Gann line. If it breaks the top of this Gann fan line and moves out of this channel in some way, then I think you're taking out these tops, and this is starting to look like more of a rising triangle. But the trend is up in dollar Canadian. When we look at Aussie, remember we had this reverse head and shoulders down here. We broke containment, retouched. We're still hugging this downtrend. A lot of pressure to the downside. Never traded above the 50-day. If it breaks back through and holds this trend line, I really think if it even breaks back through here, if it follows suit, breaks that line, look. Nothing doing there. So I think you could push to much lower levels. To the upside, you got to break above this 70-80 level right in here to get back above, and then maybe you could shoot up. But there hasn't been a lot of money to be made for the buyers in the Aussie. We see New Zealand, it's pushing the bottom of its trend channel. This was the funky reverse head and shoulders. It's really not holding. This is the last trend line. Still a little bit of pushing, but that's about it. I mean, if this gives way, then you got to look at the interiors, and it's shaping up something like, it would shape up something like this. I'll show you how technicians do it. So you connect those, and then you connect here. Oh, and there comes this interior trend channel. And you see a lot of weight, pushing, still building. Again, for it to come up and come up in here to this moving average, something like this or like here, I got to have topside MACD. I don't have anything in here. Even when we came topside last time, look, we traded just above it and then right back below, just above it. So, a lot of pressure down there. If this goes positive, then, yeah, sure, we could look to buy. And then we can measure top to bottom. But without that, you got to look at those levels. So that's the Kiwi. Then you got the Aussie, 64.79. Canadian dollar, 25.41. You know all the potentialities here. Dollar Swiss, 20.77. Dollar Yen, 93.15. Euro Yen following suit, 118.42. 47.76 in the pound, 27.11 in the euro. So you see, big downtrend channels. Not a lot of money for buyers. You might want to try and buy somewhere in here, but